Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about Elvis Presley's lethal diet. So I've always been a huge fan of Elvis. I really like his music. And I remember, it must have been about 10 years ago, I think my parents went to Graceland and then they brought back a fridge magnet and it had his favorite sandwich. It's like a peanut butter and banana fried sandwich, and I thought that was really interesting. And then it kind of occurred to me one day when I got another retro recipes from the 50s and 60s cookbook, and they had one of his sandwiches in there. So I thought it'd be interesting to look up and find out what he ate, because I know towards the end of his life he was super unhealthy and essentially died from his high fat and calorie diet. So the king stayed up most of the night on August 15th, 1977. He was restless. Between midnight and 6 a.m. he went to his dentist to have a cavity filled. And he did this late to avoid the mobs in the crowd or the paparazzi. Then he returned to Graceland and played racquetball with friends, talked over marriage plans with his 20-year-old fiance, Giner Alden, and belted out some gospel songs on the piano. Around sunrise, Ginger went to bed, but Elvis, still unable to sleep, and ate one of his early morning snacks, which consisted of 4 scoops of ice cream and 6 chocolate chip cookies. After that, he went to bed, then got up a few hours later to go to the bathroom, where he suffered a heart attack. Elvis Presley, also known as the King of Rock and Roll, is obviously a pop culture icon. Everyone knows him. He's one of the most iconic figures from the 20th century. Many people forget the public figure was actually a real person. He was so famous that everyone knew everything about him. In fact, Elvis Presley's diet and eating habits might be nearly as famous as his music. And I was actually shocked reading all of this. The singer died from a heart attack in 1977 at the young age of 42, which seems so young thinking about it now. But some people also believe that his alleged drug use and poor food choices caused his death. So maybe it was a combination of both. And I saw pictures of him like on his final days and years, and he definitely looked pretty bloated and unhealthy. Elvis tried to diet on several occasions during his time in the spotlight. Reportedly, he took sedatives to sleep more and eat less, adhering to the Sleeping Beauty diet. The risky dieting technique put the king into a coma, though, and in the 70s a doctor actually put Presley into a medically induced coma for weight loss. And by the time of his death, Elvis was consuming about 100,000 calories a day, which seems insane actually, because I think you're supposed to have, maybe for someone his height and weight, maybe 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day. And some of his favorite foods are peanut butter and banana sandwich. And obviously this seems like a quick and easy snack if it's just maybe even some whole wheat bread with some natural peanut butter and bananas, which can be healthy, especially since bananas are packed with potassium. And peanut butter has a lot of protein and fiber in it as well. And like I said before, if you have it with whole wheat bread, it can be a balanced lunch and it wouldn't be too bad. But Elvis turned this seemingly healthy sandwich into a rich and greasy dessert. So Elvis's classic peanut butter and sandwich combo doesn't just consist of a peanut butter and banana. He would throw a couple of slices of bacon in there, and then he would fry it in a pan coated with butter and bacon fat, so it kind of made a sweet and salty snack. And then he would use like sweet brioche bread and obviously lots of sugar. And it was just like a fatty fried sandwich. And another sandwich that he loved, it's called Fool's Gold Loaf. And Elvis had a huge thing for peanut butter and jelly, and he was actually obsessed with it, and he took it to a whole new level. And this is kind of his specialized version of a childhood classic. Obviously, I love peanut butter and jelly. It's kind of a comfort food. I think it is for a lot of people. And he would actually travel to get this sandwich. And Elvis was so obsessed with the sandwich that he flew in his private jet from Graceland in Tennessee to Colorado to order the sandwich because it was that good. And apparently it was this huge kind of sub packed with peanut butter and jelly. Now I want to try it. I wonder if this place still exists. Another one of his favorite foods were party meatballs, and this one consisted of bite-sized meatballs, and the little bites were wrapped in bacon, which is one of Elvis's favorite foods. And it was so rich and decadent, and he loved to wrap meat on meat. and basically wanted everything with bacon, and this is one of his favorite little go-to snacks. And he also loved fried breakfasts, and this is including a very decadent breakfast. This was kind of a full spread that he had on the weekends. And his breakfast consisted of like bacon, eggs, French toast, so like hash browns, tons of pancakes, just lots of fried, heavy, high-carb foods with lots of sugar. And he also loved sausages, and he liked home-baked rolls, coffee, and he had a huge appetite. And another one of his favorite foods were hot dogs and sauerkraut, and he always loved adding sauerkraut to the food. And apparently when Elvis was in the hospital on a strict diet, he called his private chef and asked for her to sneak him in some food. The pop legend wanted Mary Jake and Langston to bring him a couple of hot dogs and sauerkraut, and Langston told the BBC network in 1995 that Elvis instructed her to disguise the food as clothing. The chef followed the directions, and Elvis went to work on those hot dogs. And Elvis also loved drinking soda, which is high in sugar. Elvis had a never-ending supply of sugary sodas on hand in his fridge. And his favorite kinds of soda were Pepsi, Nesbitt's Orange, Shasta Black Cherry. And the singer even reportedly tried to slim down by eating nothing but bananas and jellied Shasta Black Cherry for weeks. And obviously if you're drinking soda like that all day, it can't be good for you and can cause diabetes. And he probably wasn't drinking enough water either. I've actually never heard of Shasta Black Cherry or Nesbitt's. I don't know if it's still around today, but I found some vintage photos of it. I'm curious, maybe it's still available in the South, but it's definitely not in Canada. And he also loved burnt bacon sandwich. And one of his favorite sandwiches was the burnt bacon one, and it was crumbled bacon on top of mayonnaise, canned black olives, and chopped pecans. And the mixture went between 2 pieces of white bread, and the crusts were removed, of course. So that looks like another unhealthy, high-fat, salty sandwich. And he also liked barbecued bologna sandwich. And he loved bologna mixed with barbecue sauce. And he made this with half a pack of bologna, vinegar, lemon juice, red pepper, salt, while he cooked in the oven for an hour. And after that, he covered the entire slab with barbecue sauce and cooked for another half hour. And Elvis obviously loved cheeseburgers. That's kind of my guilty pleasure. I love cheeseburgers too. And apparently one of the last things Elvis's chef cooked for him was a cheeseburger. The singer completely lost his appetite in the days before his death though. So he didn't eat any of the burger. In fact, Presley passed soon after Langston left. And for desserts, Elvis loved coconut cake. And this is a nice chewy cake with a grainy texture of coconut flakes on the outside. And this is one of Elvis's favorite desserts. And apparently he would eat this every night, and it's packed with sugar, milk, and eggs. And it's his mother's recipe. Certainly wasn't meant for any dieter. Elvis loved himself some coconut cake. And he always kept a bag of shredded coconut in his pantry. And another dish he loved was Just Pretend Harvard Texas Caviar. This recipe from Graceland's table, Recipes Fit for the King of Rock and Roll, details how to make Presley's southern version of the fancy fish egg dish. Black-dyed peas substitute for the fish eggs and are combined with chopped green bell pepper, onion, tomato, avocado, and a can of tomato soup with a cup of added sugar. It's basically like salsa on steroids. And Elvis also loved Spanish omelets, and he loved a good fried breakfast, which included omelets. And he also added a side of crisp bacon on his omelets. And he made them with potatoes, onions, pepper, and it was his favorite meal for breakfast. And a 1960s rumor claimed Elvis Presley consumed so many Spanish omelets that he caused an egg shortage in Tennessee. And Elvis also loved fried pickles, and this was a southern snack, and a lot of people ate this in the South. And that was also one of his go-to snacks, and they're really crunchy, and they're even good with bacon. Basically, he didn't really like eating a lot of vegetables, so he would eat deep-fried pickles as a substitute, and he also drowned them in dipping sauce. And another one of his favorite foods was sugar-glazed salmon. Although Elvis Presley didn't abide by real caviar, he had no problem with other types of seafood, as long as it could be seasoned so heavily that it no longer had any traces or nutritious value. And he would also eat it, and he would only eat salmon, obviously, if it was really fried and prepared his way. And his salmon dish was made with a brown sugar glaze, and the sugar gave the dish a candy-like coating, and it kind of had the perfect combination of sweet and savory. And the king loved this dish so much that it was even included on his wedding menu. And Elvis also loved meatloaf, and this was one of his favorite foods. And actually this was probably one of the more of his tamest foods. But obviously no vegetables accompanied this dish, and it was featured in the Presley family cookbook, and it consists of ground beef, garlic, onion, celery, and tomato juice. It also contained 3 slices of bread, and knowing Elvis, the bread was probably white and crustless, and he would top the coat with kind of like a ketchup sauce. And he also loved ice cream sandwiches, and this was a well-known favorite food of Elvis, and it had peanut butter, banana, and bacon, and then with a twist he would add a few scoops of peanut butter ice cream stuffed in between the 2 slices and topped with crispy bacon. And he also loved barbecued chicken bites, and this was meat chicken balls wrapped in bacon, similar to the meatball version. And he also loved oysters Rockefeller. And another favorite dessert he loved was sour cream pound cake. And this was a sweet choice for Elvis. It's moist and dense and simply flavored with vanilla and butter. And another classic dessert that he liked was classic lemon meringue pie, which is a classic southern dish. So I tried making Elvis a sandwich. I wanted to see what it was like. I made mine with brioche bread, and then I fried each side in butter, and then I mashed up a whole banana and used kind of sweet Jiffy peanut butter on the inside and fried both. So I'm gonna have a bite right now and try it. I've always wanted to make this sandwich, so it's actually kind of interesting. It's very sweet with the banana and the brioche. It's actually pretty good. I was thinking about making the bacon one. I changed my mind because, I don't know, it just kind of grossed me out and I just wasn't in the mood at the time. But I do have a cookbook, I'll link below, where you can make his bacon version too. But there's plenty of recipes online as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've tried any of Elvis's recipes and who you want me to do next. Alright, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye!